Today we're taking a look at the paintings of Frank Brangwyn. He was a Welsh artist, born in 1867 and died in 1956, the year I was born. And he was largely self-taught, and I'm not sure what that means, self-taught. I mean, you got to learn something somewhere along the way. His father was a designer. He designed buildings and interiors, so I'm sure he got some help there. I guess that largely means he didn't go to art school. So very energetic young man. He started selling some of his paintings at the age of 17, then joined the Navy Reserve so he could travel the world and gather material for paintings with drawings and watercolor. Way too much energy. He did so many different things. I think if he was alive today, he'd be on medication. But back then, he had all this energy to design tapestry, he designed carpets, he designed and built furniture, made posters, even designed stained glass for Louis Tiffany, as well as doing just a ton of murals. A lot of murals in England, San Francisco, Missouri State Capitol, which I grew up not far from there, so I had no idea Frank had mural there. Ohio, Canada, New Zealand, so all over the place. Really busy guy, and his paintings are the same way. Very different. You can't really place him in one particular style or technique, and that's what we're going to look at here is some of his paintings. What I like is these bigger, simpler paintings without all the detail. Everything is very well designed. But these are, designing these bigger shapes, dark and light values, real strong contrast, always very dramatic. Everything he painted was dramatic and full of energy. And I really love his brushwork. You'll see a lot of variety in styles here. This one's similar to the last one. Again, just well designed, really strong contrast, dark and light. Had a really good use of color, and it changed quite a bit. This is some of his more busier work. A lot of detail. But even with all the detail, there's still really strong design. Your eye can really follow, a lot of stuff. A lot of ways to enter the painting, exit the painting. Really thought through the design really well. And again, some big, strong, flat, simple areas like the sky, the sails here. The dark, contrasting the more busier areas of the figures. Same thing with color. A lot of gray color that allows that really strong color of these figures to really stand out. And very energetic brushwork. I mean, just had way too much energy. Did figures really well, as we'll see, especially in the murals and the real busy paintings. Clutter up those or just bunch those figures together, but handled them really well. Another broad, big, simple landscape, very dramatic. A lot of drama in his paintings, but very strong values. This is an earlier one where he painted a lot more muted, a lot grayer, a lot thinner. You could tell really could draw well. And I don't know how old he was, probably not very old here, but when you start selling at 17, you have to be fairly good to sell paintings. He started, or he did his first one-man show in 1891. In that same year, he also won a gold medal at the Paris Salon and was still traveling the world in the Navy, gathering material. So here, a lot less color, a little more monochromatic, but very strong design, a lot of energy in the brushwork. Here's a little more busier, less colorful, less really thick paint. Again, thinner paint, but still well designed, figures well painted. He had control of everything, even as he cluttered up some of his paintings with a ton of detail. He did some paintings, religious paintings. I'm not sure if it's for books or what it is. This is Christ and his father Joseph in a wood shop. Again, very well designed. These things aren't by accident down here. Your eye follows these light shapes, whatever they are. I have no idea what they are, but a lot of ways to follow things around, you know, and just lead your eye on these edges of dark and light. You know, the painting can, or your eye can enter in a lot of different places and exit in a lot of different places. Very well designed. Looks cluttered and detailed, but the design is in the big light areas in here, and of course the big dark areas. So cluttered with some detail, but the design is made simple by those big shapes of dark and light. Here's another painting, maybe a series he did of the life of Christ. This is feeding the 5,000. Again, good design, nice drawing on the figures. And I like the bold color. Of course, he looks like Dean Cornwell. If you look at his work and you think, gee, I've seen that somewhere. Dean Cornwell studied with him or apprenticed with him or something. But very similar to Dean Cornwell's work. Here's another more simplified painting. Again, I just love the energy and the figures on the boats, kind of the stuff tripping along the top of the bridge. Strong contrast, dark and light. A lot of dark foreground, lighter midground, dark again in the background. Again, a lot of drama, a lot of energy in the brushwork. Again, very strong design, showing the shadow pattern there, the shadow pattern. Real strong shadow pattern that flows throughout the painting. Here, this is probably traveling, quick color study. And even though there's a lot going on in the foreground, everything is simplified. Works real well. He did a lot of stone lithography. That's doing a crayon type drawing on a large stone and making prints off of it. I have no idea about the process, but he did really large ones, 4 by 5 foot stones that are about 5 or 6 inches thick. Really gigantic drawings, but very detailed drawings on those stones. A lot of them have to do with the war. They used them as posters, but just incredible drawings, and I could draw real well. Also etchings. Did a ton of etchings. Again, very well designed. A lot of detail here, but also a lot of big areas of kind of flat areas that allow some of the detail to stand out and be more interesting as opposed to being cluttered everywhere. So knowing where to keep things simple and where to add detail is a big part of making detail work. Again, another painting, somewhat a cluttered feel, but again, the big flat areas help some of that stand out. A lot of drama, strong, dark, and light. A lot of figures. Everything's drawn real well. He did a lot of commissioned work, and a lot of it was rejected. Not a lot, but some of it was rejected because of his strong use of color. Very dramatic scenes. He had some posters rejected in World War I because they were just too gory, just way too much energy. And he had a series of large commissions, very large paintings that were rejected. In the 30s, kind of went into depression, kind of a despair of everything, and started giving his work away. He gave away a ton of work to museums, galleries, friends. So just way too much energy. Here's still life. Even though there's a lot of detail in there, really busy up there. Again, there's enough flat, simple areas that makes it work real well. And his values are just always so accurate. That allows the colors to really make a statement when your values are really good. But again, your eye kind of follows the busyness, the lighter things moving around the painting and then back out again. Very good design. Another religious painting, the Crucifixion, more muted colors for the kind of the somber tone of the subject. Again, another quick study, probably done on the spot. You notice the figure here. The figures are very simple, but have a lot of motion to them, a lot of energy. All the weight is on this one leg. The hips are shifted one way, the shoulders the other. So as long as you get that weight shifted on the figure, you can keep it very simple, almost just a silhouette. But how you have the shoulders and hips slanted and which leg has the weight can really show a lot of motion without doing too much. But again, very nice design. But very busy guy. I was reading where they estimated he produced over 12,000 works. His murals would cover 22,000 square feet of canvas. Painted over 1,000 oils. This is an earlier painting. You can tell by the muted colors, stronger colors up front, muted grade in the background, nice atmosphere. Again, figures well done. Did 1,000 oils, 660 mixed media works, that would be watercolors and gouache, 500 etchings, 400 wood engravings and woodcuts, 280 lithographs, and 40 architectural and interior designs, 230 designs for items of furniture, and 20 stained glass panels and windows. And just an extreme amount of work. Again, real strong design. A lot of clutter down here, but works real well. I mean, I would rather poke my eyes out than do that many figures in a painting. But he certainly knew what he was doing. Very strong design, very strong contrast. And again, some areas of detail and clutter, in other areas, real simple, flatter shapes that makes it work. Lived a long time and eventually became more of a recluse, not getting out much. Of course, he lived into his 90s. So again, nice, big, simple shapes. Even this figure here, which we would say it's out of proportion, it fits in because everything else is very simple and loose and suggested. So having the suggested figures there works. Again, a lot of drama, the strong shadow in the foreground, drama of dark and light, of warm and cool colors. Not easy, peaceful paintings. But his work is well worth looking at. This is a piece of a mural. I didn't show much of the murals because they were just so busy. But he could really design and draw well. But Google his name and look at his work. There's a lot of it. There's some books out on him that are very good. You can get them on Amazon. You can always get them used. They're a lot cheaper, but well worth looking at for the way he designed, created drama, and certainly had a lot of energy.